We usually associate the birth of state-sponsored Christianity with the Roman Emperor Constantine, but Constantine was late to the party. In the year 301 AD, the small kingdom of Armenia beat the greatest empire on earth to the punch. Armenia sat dead center in the ancient world's most dangerous neighborhood, squeezed between the expanding Roman and massive Persian empires. For centuries, these superpowers used the highlands as a tactical buffer zone, handing the throne to whoever won the latest border war. Military strength was never going to be enough to hold back the Roman legions or the Persian cavalry indefinitely. To survive, Armenia needed a shared identity so distinct and so resilient that it acted like a cultural shield. The catalyst for that identity was a royal murder. In the mid-3rd century, Persian agents dispatched a man named Anak to assassinate the Armenian King Khosrov II, hoping to destabilize the state from within. The plan worked, but it triggered a multi-generational blood feud. Anak was executed, and the infant heirs of the murdered king and the assassin were smuggled out of the country to survive in exile. Decades later, the king's son returns. This is Tiridates III. Raised and educated in Rome, he is a disciplined military tactician. He is tasked with reclaiming a broken kingdom. Around the same time, the assassin's son returns. This is Gregory. He brings with him an illegal, highly controversial new religion from the West, Christianity. The fate of the entire region hinged on a collision between these two orphans, the son of a murdered king and the son of his killer. Historical accounts describe a brutal first meeting. Tiridates discovers Gregory's identity and throws him into Khor Virap, a lightless stone pit, leaving him to starve. 13 years pass. During that time, the king executes a group of Christian nuns fleeing Roman persecution. Shortly after, the accounts describe Tiridates descending into a literal animalistic madness, wandering the forests, behaving like a wild boar. Desperate, the court retrieves Gregory from the pit. He heals the king, and in gratitude, Tiridates immediately declares Christianity the official religion of the Armenian state. It is a cinematic origin story, but the folklore masks a highly calculated geopolitical masterstroke. Tiridates was a savvy commander, and he understood the immense pressure mounting on his borders. The Sassanid Persians to the east were fiercely Zoroastrian. They had already killed his father and were aggressively using their faith to culturally assimilate neighboring populations. Meanwhile, his Roman allies were currently carrying out some of the most brutal persecutions of Christians in history. By adopting Christianity, Tiridates defied both neighbors. He rejected Persian Zoroastrianism and broke cultural ranks with pagan Rome, carving out a unique third path for his people. This wasn't just a spiritual awakening, it was a defensive maneuver to ensure the sovereign survival of the Armenian identity. Domestically, the transition was enforced by the state. Tiridates used military force to uproot the country's long-standing Zoroastrian traditions. Gregory and the king systematically targeted the pagan priestly class, destroying their temples and seizing their wealth to fund the state's new infrastructure. Construction of the new churches began immediately on the foundations of the ruined shrines, physically anchoring the new faith onto the country's old holy sites. By merging the state with a centralized religious hierarchy, Tiridates created an institution capable of surviving long after his own dynasty had faded. The strategy transformed Armenia from a vulnerable geographic corridor into a cultural fortress. This identity allowed the Armenian people to maintain their cohesion through centuries of imperial clashes and conquests, even when they lacked a formal state to protect them. You see this independence in the uniquely Armenian art and architecture that evolved in isolation from both Rome and Persia. The genius of Tiridates and Gregory lay in fusing a powerful myth with hard-nosed geopolitics, anchoring a national identity that has